Hello world, it's Kurtis Potter with Boundless Inspiration. Isn't that just beautiful? You may not really be able to see it. All those stars, man, there's thousands of them. And today I wanted to come and talk to you about those dark times in your life. First of all, I wanted to say that it's just a chapter. It's just a season. It's not gonna last. Because even as you can see partially over there, at some point, the sun's gonna rise. So just stand firm and have faith that times are gonna get better and times are gonna get brighter. Now see, the thing is you may say, well, look at me right now. Man, it is so dark where I'm at. Pitch black. Hardest time of my life. Going through stuff you can't even imagine. Well, I'll tell you, sometimes it takes the darkest of darks to be able to see that star, right? It's even said that sometimes it's got to be the darkest skies to be able to see the stars when they're so far away. So sometimes you have to look for them. You got to look harder and harder and harder to see those bright times. But see, the thing is too is not only having the faith that there's gonna be brighter times, because man, I've been in some dark places in my life, and I'll tell you, sometimes you got to find it. Sometimes you're looking and you're like, man, I can't even see one star. Oh, you know what? But I just kept on looking and I found it. And I keep on searching in those dark times and bam, look, I found another one. Oh, and you know what? That one's closer to that one than that star was to this one. So sometimes you got to look harder, but if you persist and you stay consistent on moving forward, man, it's like, look, there's two together and those were closer. So you know what? I'll have some dark times. I'll have some dark days. But then it's like, bam, there's another one. Bam, there's another one. Bam, there's another one. You just keep on keeping on. Don't give up, because the only person that can be defeated is somebody that gives up. And you're like, man, I was going through some dark times it was long. But I'll tell you what, if you just keep on fighting, you keep on learning lessons, you keep on pushing through, you keep on leaving yourself vulnerable to speak with people that's been there, done that, even if it has to be counseling. Man, it was so hard for me to go to counseling, because it was like I had this ego where I was like, I don't need it. I can manage this. But I couldn't. There was stuff that was so bottled up, and I had to get it out and speak to a professional, and that really helped me grow. And I started going to workshops and seminars and reading books. And that's when I really started to grow. And that's when I seen brighter and brighter times. You're like, Kurtis, what is there? What can I do right now? Because I'm in such a dark time. I'm in such a dark place. I'm thinking about committing suicide, maybe. I'm thinking about walking away from this marriage. I'm thinking about walking away from my family. I'm in such a deep place. I'm ready to move thousands of miles away just to get away from everybody. I'm speaking from experience. I was going through so much hard times. I was at such a deep place. I moved to Florida. Get away from everyone and everything. I was so mad, so angry, so hurt, so bitter, so jaded, so weary. And I moved to Florida because I was like, I've just got to find something to shine that light in my life in this hard time. And you know, I was in a relationship, had a child, and yes, I begged her to come to Florida every single day. And I was there fighting. Sometimes you got to fight to get what you want. Sometimes you got to fight to get that inner peace if that's what you need in those dark times. Man, this life, it can be a dogfight, especially your upbringing, and especially some of the situations we put ourselves in. Especially if your significant other is also battling those things. But see, this is where I want to give you the most hope. even in these dark times, when, man, look at that picture. It is so dark right now. The greatness is, even in the darkest times, you know what is greater than darkness? Greater than those dark times you're in? Boom. It's light. Look at that. It was pitch black. Now I can see all the way over to those trees. I'm sure you've seen some of my other videos. That's like at least probably 250 to 350 yards away. Man, this is just a single flashlight. Look how bright that is. It goes all the way across that field to where my phone can't even register it. Those trees that I've got my flashlight on, 500-600 yards away. See, that's the thing is even in the darkest times, light is brighter than those dark times. So what I invite you to do is be the light in those dark times. No matter how hard your day is, be that light. Be that positivity. Be the leader. Just keep pushing through. No matter how heavy your shoulders are, keep pushing through. No matter what negativity comes your way, persist on being the positivity. Be the light. If your work sucks, be the positivity. Create so much joy and positivity that it rubs off. Because it's said that the only thing that's more contagious than negativity is positivity. So even if you're in a super negative work environment, be that positivity. Even if you're in a marriage that sucks and your spouse comes home from work just hating life, everything's negative. Speaking from experience, I've been that guy before. Be the positivity. See, relationships, regardless if it's work, your significant other, your siblings, your parents, your cousins, your friends, any kind of relationship. Any kind of relationship. It's not 50-50, like, hey, let's meet in the middle. It's 100-100. You have to choose, no matter what the other person is doing around you, to be that light. And I have faith in you. I mean, look at this tree. It's brightened up by this flashlight. This field. Massive field. I'm just one person out here in this middle of this empty field with all these crops. Thank you, Lord. And I could be the light. You know what? It's hard. I know it's hard, especially when you're in the deepest of deepest pits. And see, the thing is, if I would have came out to this field trying to find light, you know what, those stars may have been the only thing that I had to light me up, but they're so far away. It's like, man, how's that gonna brighten this field? And you know what? Sometimes they're brighter. Sometimes it's got the moon to brighten it up for you. But the thing is when I came out to this field looking for the light, sometimes you got to bring it. A flashlight. Sometimes you need help. I needed help from this flashlight to brighten this field. In your life, sometimes you need help. Sometimes we want to isolate ourselves. Be like, you know what? I've got too much shame. I've got too much guilt. I've got too much pain. They don't understand me. You know what? I finally, because I used to hold it all in. And I got to a point where I was like, man, this is just creating a ticking time bomb inside myself. I'm about to explode. I was blowing up on people because I always held it in. So then I finally got to where someone said, man, Kurtis, you got to start letting that out. So I started letting it out. Well, unfortunately, what happened was some of my friends were like, dude, I can't handle this. Get away from me. Man, I had a buddy that was like, dude, he said, man, I had a vision of you speaking in front of 200,000 people. Dude, I'm going to stick with you through it all. Well, you know what? Then I was going through a divorce. My wife filed for a divorce, and I was a wreck. She was taking off with the kids, not letting me see them for days and days and days, and I was wrecked. I was hurting, and I was just crying out to him. Dude, I'm hurting because of this. Dude, I'm hurting because of that. Man, she did this. Man, she did that. Dude, I mean, I was going crazy. My kids, man, they mean the world to me. And what happened? Next thing you know, he just stopped returning my calls. He's like, dude, didn't even say anything. He was always like, man, I feel you. Man, I went through that and I understand. And then it was like, man, you know what? You're too negative for me. I'm just blocking your calls from now on. And man, it hurt my heart. Because when it was so dark, when I was in such a dark place, I was needing that flashlight. I was needing that person. But you know what? I forgive that person because he likely was getting in a dark place because he was hearing how dark my place was. So see, the thing is his light was only about this bright, realistically. Maybe, maybe about that bright. But see, my darkness was overtaking his light, and he knew it, so he had to stop because his light was not brighter than my darkness at that time. And sometimes you bring that dark. So you know what I did? I not only started seeking help from one person, but many people. See, that's when it got really bright. Because I was reaching out to a great friend who's a chaplain. I was reaching out to a great friend that lives in Florida, that it always points me towards God. And he won't say, oh, Kurtis, come on, man. It's all right that you're in a dark place and you're blaming everyone else. No, he says, Kurtis, where can you take responsibility for where you're at? How can you be the light in this situation? How can you be the leader in this situation? And you know what? Sometimes still I'll get back in that dark place because I only had 2 people. Bam! I added to my group. I started talking to my pastor. I started talking to my associate pastor. I started talking to other men that was pushing me towards God, pushing me towards doing the right things. Not people that's going to be like, you know what? Just give up on your marriage. Just go ahead and leave that. You know what? Just go to Florida again. Man, that place, Florida, it's like your home, man. It's always been in your heart. Just go back to Florida. You did it once. Go ahead and do it again. You can fly back and see your kids every other weekend. No. See, the thing is when I really wanted change, I stopped reaching out to those people who was kind of like this. Dark light, dark light. They're like, hey, you know what? I'm really sorry that you're going through this. Let's go to the bar. Nope, don't need you. That's not what I need right now. I had a friend, great friend of mine. Every time that my wife and I would get into it or something, I'd go to his house and just be venting. You know, sometimes you need to vent. And his wife would say, hey, let me just drop you 2 off at the strip club. And that way it'll be a night. She thought she was being a light. And I was like, no, that's not what I need to save my marriage. Like, what do you, hey, my luck, you know what, who will be at that strip club? Her dad, her brother, her cousin. That's my luck. No, and that's not even what I need. I haven't been in a strip club in over 7 years. No, that is not what I need. I need you to be a light. I told her, I said, I need you to give me some female advice on what I should do as a man to be there for my woman. See, sometimes you try to be that light even, and sometimes you're like, oh, fail. I tried this and it actually pushed them away more. And you're like, man, I was trying to be the light. So that's why sometimes you gotta find the right lights in your life. Sometimes you gotta be that right light. Sometimes you gotta just swallow your pride and go to that counseling. Sometimes you gotta swallow your pride and say you're sorry. And then back it up with action. Because the best apology is change behavior. So you know what? Even if you're in a dark time and you're mad at yourself and you're apologizing to yourself and you're like, man, I'm shameful, I'm guilty. I know I created this. Well, just saying sorry and keep doing the same things will get you right back in this dark time. But you know what? If you want to put it into action, like, hey, you know what? I know I haven't been the best father, or a best mother. I'm going to read books on how to become the best father and mother. And I'm going to show that I'm really apologetic. You know what? I wasn't the best husband. I wasn't the best wife. You know what? I'm going to read books on how to become the best husband and wife. Oh, you know what? My business failed. Look how dark it is now. My business failed. Well, you know what? There's books on how to build a successful business. There's billionaires out there who's written books like Warren Buffett. They'll teach you. Oh, I made an investment in the stock market and I lost all my money. Bam! What do you know? There's something to brighten your light. We're in such a great time, just like this video where it's at your fingertips. You can just hop on YouTube and watch any kind of video you want. Oh, oops, I lost all the money because I was addicted to gambling. Bam! There you go. There's a book on how to recover from gambling. There's even a phone call. It freaking almost makes me sick. Any of the like BetMGM commercials and everything at the end of it says, if you have a gambling problem, call this phone number. You know, and I'm just like, man, I'm glad that the government made them put those. Just like on a cigarette package, it says, hey, if you smoke these cigarettes for no reason, really, you're gonna die. We gotta let you know it's killing you. Hey, if you take these medicines, it's gonna kill you. Actually, it's gonna help you for today, but it's gonna kill you in your life. It makes me sick. But bam, you know what? Psh, there's things to help you stop taking those things. Man, oh, you don't know, Kurtis, my marriage is failing. Actually, I know a thing or two about a thing or two because I've done a thing or two. I've done enough stupid crap in my marriage. So I was like, boom. Hey, Brooke, wanna go to marriage counseling? And even better yet, not just marriage counseling, let's go to our church marriage counseling, because they're not only gonna point us to doing the right thing in our marriage, but they're gonna point us towards God. I mean, look what He created. Anybody can say what they want about the Bible, but that's the best self-help book there is. It's literally a guide to our life. So you're like, man, I'm in a deep, dark place. Nobody loves me. My wife, my husband left me, cheated on me, whatever. Bam. Man, here's a book that'll teach you if you follow it. Look at some of the happiest people on this earth. They're people that truly believe and have faith in God and read the Bible and spend time with God. They give the most, they volunteer the most. They're the happiest, joyful, creating joy in other people's lives. And you're like, well, man, I can't even find joy. And I'm just speaking from experience. I'm in a dark place. Bam, try creating joy for someone else. And look what will happen. Man, it's really hard for me to love my wife. She left me, or my husband. Bam, what's agape love? Well, man, she keeps hitting me in the chin. I'm taking blow after blow in the chin. So be that light. Persist. You're a leader. You wouldn't even be listening to this video by now if you want. We're 18 minutes into this video. You wouldn't even be listening to this right now if you didn't have hope, if you didn't have faith, if you wasn't a leader. So you know what? Sometimes you gotta be that leader. You gotta persist through those hard times. You gotta persist through those dark times to find the light. Some days, bam, they'll find you. Some days you gotta find them. But just keep on fighting. Never give up. Never quit. And you'll find it. And then guess what? Man, look, now the sun's even closer to coming up. So even 20 minutes ago, you could barely see that sun coming up. But man, that's all it took was 20 minutes. And now I don't even need that flashlight. I could start walking down that street and I wouldn't even have to have my flashlight on. It just gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And guess what? 4 hours from now, just 4 hours from now, it's gonna be so bright. I'm gonna need shades on. I'm gonna need some sunglasses on because it's so bright. It's like, bam, sun, flashlight, psh, shades. So the thing is if you keep shining that light, you keep walking towards brightness, you keep walking towards getting help, getting healing, helping others, it's gonna be so bright that you're gonna need some shades. Your finances are gonna turn around to where you're gonna start blessing people. You're gonna start getting those things that you wanted in life. Not if you just sit there in the darkness and feel sorry for yourself, like, you know what, I'm just gonna mope and struggle through this addiction until I become homeless or something. I'm just gonna keep on not apologizing in my marriage and not trying to change until I get a divorce. Man, oh, you know what, it'll make me feel better if I just keep on gambling, if I just keep going to strip clubs, if I just keep looking at porn, if I just keep yelling and cursing at my kids. Man, I'm gonna military them to death to where if I yell at them enough, my kids are gonna be perfect. No. Find the light. Because again, the only thing that is more positive than negativity and darkness is positivity and brightness. I hope this helped you all. I hope this helps you get through some hard times if you're in them, or remind you of some of the hard times that you got through and celebrate them. And the last thing that I want to say is, anytime you choose light, even in a dark time, celebrate it. Anytime you push past a mental block, celebrate it. And then the more you celebrate them, and the more you celebrate them, the more you celebrate them, it's gonna become a habit. So then when somebody's negative, you're like, beep, not today, Satan, like a stiff arm. You know, that running back's just running through, and all they have to do is just stiff arm them. Like, you start to see it coming. You're like, haha, not today. You got me a year ago. You got me 5 years ago. You got me 10 years ago. Man, I've been going through this for 20 years where I would just accept the darkness. I would receive it. Sometimes I'd be it. Oh, man, I just saw a shooting star. I wish I could have got that on video. It's even like that. Next thing you know, God would just throw you one of the... I mean, how beautiful was that? I really wish I could have got that shooting star. And see, that's the thing is I'm out here in just this rural location. And the thing is when I lived in the city, you can never even see those stars. Sometimes I was really resistant moving out here to the country, because I grew up in Cloverdale, small town out in the middle of nowhere. About an hour from Terre Haute, about an hour from Indianapolis, about an hour from anything. And I hated it. Some of my friends lived like 5-10 miles away. And as a kid, it was like, even if I wanted to go, if my parents wasn't going to let me, it was like, man, that's some bull crap. And even my friends, I ended up moving to the city anyways. A lot of my friends would have to drive at least an hour to 2 hours just to find some work. Because in rural areas, you can't find work that pays worth a crap. And I just saw that. So I didn't even really want to buy this house, if we're being honest, out in the middle of nowhere. But the things you do for the woman you love, and the things you love, I kind of did it because I saw the financial reward as well. But I'll tell you what, man, you could never look up at the sky and see these stars like you can see right now in the city. Too much pollution. Too many lights from buildings and everything. And I'll tell you, that's one of the things I've loved, is just coming out here at night, coming out here in the morning like I am right now, and just seeing this beauty. So sometimes you gotta take yourself away from that pollution, from the city, from social media. Get rooted again. Get rooted like these plants. Man, look at these things. They're small, but they got roots. They're probably twice as deep as them. Those trees, the roots are just as tall in the ground as those trees. Find your roots. Find the lights. Be the light.